Okay, I just wanted to make a quick video. I'll try to make it quick on what I do every year with my garden. I've had this garden for about 10 years. It started out pretty small and it got bigger and bigger and bigger. So what I try to do every year is in the fall, I like to either cover my garden beds or plant Alsike clover. Alsike clover will protect the soil from being compacted through rain, and it also adds nitrogen to the soil. And then in the spring I will dig it up, weed it, and it leaves a nice fluffy soil. It's very enjoyable to trim at that point. So what I do when I start is, when the weather will cooperate, I get a scoop of yard debris compost from the local landscape supply company. It's about 30 bucks, more than enough. Then I make a soil mix in a wheelbarrow from my own compost that I make with these Vader composters. I get a lot of straw and chicken manure, and I add table scraps, not table scraps, vegetable scraps, and then keep that moist. It takes about a year to make that compost. That's why I have two of them. Makes sense, right? Okay. So when I make my soil mix, I use a third of my yard compost, a third of the compost that I buy, the yard debris compost, and a third peat moss. I also add fertilizer. I use a 5-10-10 slow release. This lasts, I don't know, 6 years? 5-6 years for a bag. I use 1 scoop of Osmocote. It comes with the scooper. I use pelletized lime. I use about a handful in here. How much fertilizer do I use? I don't know. That's a big cup. It's about, what, 20 ounces? That's what I use. So I'll also add vermiculite or perlite, I think it's called. That just helps with the soil aeration. And this is what I use to fill my pots. I use a good sized pot. These big ones. That's what I start my summer vegetables in. I plant my tomatoes and my peppers and all that in there, and then I put them in the house, make a nice warm fire, let those start germinating. It's usually in the end of February here in the Northwest. The lime is because in the Northwest we get a lot of rain, so the soil is a lot of clay in it, and that helps break up the clay. So there's that. So then, again, if the weather cooperates and the soil dries out, I'm sorry about the wind, it's awful. The only time the weather is nice in the spring is when it's windy. So that's the trade-off. So I uncover my beds, I dig my beds, I break up the clumps, I level it out. Then I take the same amount of lime, fertilizer, and Osmocote as I use in that wheelbarrow, and I spread it out evenly over a bed. Then I take about half a wheelbarrow load of peat moss, and I spread that evenly over the soil. Then I mix it up, and then I level it back out. Once it's leveled out, I take a wheelbarrow load of this yard debris compost, and I spread it over the bed evenly and flatten it out. I just did these two. Now I'm ready to plant. I've got this round, I guess it's a coat, closet hanger rod. I'll put this down where I want my row to be, and I step on it, create a nice divot, and then I plant my seeds along there. When I'm done, when my seeds are in place, I get a bucket of that premix that I made in the wheelbarrow back in the shed, and I sprinkle it over the top, level it out. That also kind of marks the rows because there's a difference in color. Then I water it, and that's how I do it every year. So these will be root vegetables. Go beets, turnips. These will be leaf vegetables. You can see I've planted this one. You can see the difference in the row, the color. So I know where to water. 2 different types of lettuce here. I think I'll do kale here, and I'll do Swiss chard here. These ones will be tomatoes, and then peppers and squash or whatnot. These big bad boys up here, these 4x10s, those are all legumes. They will be snow peas and green beans. So that's what we do every year, and we've been doing it that way for a while, and it seems to be working out for us. We rotate our crops through the beds every year, and we rotate by vegetable type. So I go by fruit, which I consider tomato, pepper, squash, any kind of summer vegetable. Root, it's pretty clear. Carrots, turnips, beets, that kind of thing. Leaf, lettuce, broccoli, celery, chard, kale, that kind of stuff. And then finally legume, which is peas and beans. So that's what we do. We've been doing it this way a long time. It works pretty good. We do the soil rotate, or the crop rotation, for a bunch of different reasons. Most people know why. It's supposed to help with diseases, pests. Also, the nutrient usage. These different types of vegetables, use a primary type of nutrient, and by rotating them, you don't deplete the soil of a certain nutrient. Kind of keeps it kind of even, So that's what we do. I just wanted to make the video because I'm doing it right now, and thought I'd break it down for some people. All right, take care, y'all.